Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Professor Chi Show. Today we're going to talk about the shining mind and the conditioned mind. The shining mind is our original nature. It's who we are before we are born, let's say. We're still that, but it's all covered up by the conditioned mind. The conditioned mind is built on fear. It's around survival. We need the conditioned mind. However, the conditioned mind has a tendency to take over completely. This is because it's aware that it's temporary. It's a temporary phenomena that's attached to this time machine here, we call it the human body. It only has a certain amount of time, and then the game is over for the conditioned mind, for the conditioning that it takes to survive as a human this time around, let's say. I'm assuming there's another time around. If not, that's fine with me. But for the sake of argument, we'll say that the conditioned mind is the temporary manifestation of the things that it takes to survive. Now, that's initially what it is, and it was much easier when we were hunter-gatherers and we knew exactly what it takes to survive. In the modern era, survival is much more complicated because of the agreements that we've made about the things that we feel are important and the things we believe in, the concepts that drive us, our values, the virtues that we feel are important, the ideas that we hope to emulate. The shining mind is beyond all this. It's eternal. The shining mind is eternal. Whether it is, Professor Chi forever, well, let's hope not. I believe there's a tender mercy going on there. The shining mind is eternal in the sense that it is not involved with the day-to-day survival. It knows it's eternal. It is the basis of religion in many ways. We're all looking for the meaning of life. We're looking for God. We're looking for some sort of spiritual identification. That is the shining mind. When we get to our spiritual identity where we're just energy that is not conditioned by the events and people and things, that is our condition. That is our shining mind. We all want the shining mind. There's so many of the things that we find ourselves searching for: love, comfort, meaning, accolades, and success. They're like bastardizations of the shining mind, because we want to feel complete. We want to feel whole. The shining mind is whole. The conditioned mind, by its very nature, can't possibly be whole. It cannot possibly be whole. It is just living for surviving for the next moment. It has an agenda, and the agenda is to keep your attention, because when you get to the shining mind, the mundane day-to-day mind, it seems a little dull. It is a little dull. Now, I'm not saying the shining mind is all that, because frankly, it's rather useless. It's just about contentment and joy and light and illumination and all the things that really, really matter, except for when it comes to the bottom line, like a place to live and food to eat. These things are important, don't get me wrong. My point being, and this is my point, we need a balance of both. We can call the shining mind the intuitive mind. The conditioned mind is our rational mind. They're both very necessary. We need them both to survive. However, you very seldom meet people that have some sort of balance around their intuition and their rationality. You'll meet people that are very intuitive. We call them psychics. or saints or sages. They even seem to be able to see into the future or look deeply into other people and see where they're coming from. That's fine and good. And unless you're a real good psychic making money, you probably aren't going to be able to do much for the shining mind other than shine. The world, the mundane world, is almost in fear of the shining mind because the shining mind is not afraid of change. It is change. It continues to flow. It's always flowing. It has no need to be in the present moment because it is the present moment. It's eternal. It's eternity. When we're in the shining mind, and we've all been there, when we're young, we are the shining mind. Infants, you see infants, they don't really have an agenda. They're just, if they cry with all their might. If they smile, it lights up the whole room. When they move, they're moving their whole body. They are not cut up into little pieces yet. They haven't been given a personality and an identity yet. This is what we hope for in the long run, to be able to have that as our default mode, that when we are no longer needed to operate our world and think and do the mundane things that it takes to survive, we should refer back and default back into the shining mind and just be content. This is not an easy movement. Why? Because of clinging and grabbing and attachment. The conditioned mind is conditioned to cling because it's temporary. It doesn't have any hopes of survival. It knows that its days are numbered. So it clings to every experience that comes along, particularly emotional experiences. This movement of the conditioned mind, of the clinging mind, tends to obscure completely our shining mind. So the search, the spiritual search, or the search for meaning, or the Holy Grail, or whatever you hope to call it, is finding the shining mind. We find it in silence. We find it in Zen moments when we're completely occupied with the moment and you know time just flies by and you know where did all the time go? We find it in sex. In sex, we're completely engrossed in the moment. We're completely engrossed in the feelings of sex. And that is a reflection of the shining mind. As soon as you start to analyze sex, it's no fun. As soon as you start to analyze anything, it's no fun. So finding the balance between our temporary existence and the ego that we have to have in order to survive, and our permanent self, our self that doesn't need to be propped up in any ways, it's just happy to be right here, right now. That, my friends, is the perfection in life. There is no perfection, but finding a 50-50 balance between the rational and the intuitive, between the conditioned mind and the shining mind, that is the hope of a successful life. To do this, we have to live long. We have to be lucky. We have to work hard in some ways. You have to work hard to create it's so ironic. We have to work hard to create the conditioned mind and all the trappings that it clings to in order to be comfortable. And then once we're there, we honestly need to keep moving and transcend that and learn to do it with our left foot. Don't be so enamored with your efforts and your successes in temporary successes in the world and the people and events and things that color that world. Rather, we need to find a balance so that the default mode is the shining mind and remove the default mode from our mundane rational mind. Allow that to sit while we are shining. And then when we're up and clinging and working in the world, Well, the shining mind is very intelligent. It sits back and it waits and it watches. It enjoys watching. That's what it does. It watches. My hope is for all of us to find this balance, this firmness and flexibility in our life, and flexibility within firmness and firmness within flexibility when it comes to our choice between what we're going to operate in the present moment, our rational mind or our shining mind. And again, a balance between the two is the agenda. It is the hope in life. To just be shining and sit in a cave somewhere, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To be involved in the world and know nothing but the conflicts of the world and the pursuit of money and all the things in the world, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to say there's one is better than the other. I will say they need each other. Furthermore, the conditioned mind is just a little aspect of the shining mind. If you're going to spend your entire life just in the mundane things in life, it's not going to be that pleasant towards the end of it. We have to find some sort of balance, and the sooner you start to find this balance, the better. There's many, many methods of doing this. Most of them are about subtracting things out of your life, subtracting all the things that seem to keep you from the shining mind. Things like our emotions, things like the choices that we make and the actions that we do. I'm not saying that we don't have to have those things, we do. However, if you focus on nothing more than the search to get back to the shining mind, you will not find a 50-50 balance. You will probably get there to the shining mind and figure out a way to stay there and create an enemy out of our mundane mind. The mundane mind and the rational is not our enemy. It just doesn't have our best interests in mind. It has its own interests in mind. It's like has a life of its own. If we want to work at this, I find the best way is to add something, not to subtract something. Add more energy in your life for the search of this balance between firmness and flexibility, between the rational and the intuitive. Because usually we don't come to the conclusion that, oh my goodness, I need to do something about this until we've practically ruined the body. Because it usually doesn't come to us until we're later on in life. So we'll need more energy for the rest of the search, for the rest of the fun of finding that balance. I say, go to solarqigong.com and learn how to practice Qigong, how to practice solar Qigong. Bring more and more energy of life into the body, into your life. Supplement the shining mind in such a way as to build a bridge to who we really are. It's fun, it's easy, it only takes 20 minutes a day. I invite you to go to solarqigong.com today and start building that bridge, that rainbow bridge from our clinging, temporal, mundane mind into the mind of the shining world of all quantum possibility and probability. The more we know about the shining mind, the luckier we'll get with the possibilities and the probabilities in this world of possibilities and probabilities. Rather than sticking with what you already know and, oh, well, this works, I'm going to stay with this. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is certainly limiting. Discover an unlimited you today. Learn to practice solar Qigong, and as Professor Qi says, we are Qi naturally. Thank you for today.